Have you heard of this term before, a credit score? You probably have, maybe on a commercial, or maybe your family's talked to you about it. But in life, you want to build good credit or have a good credit score. And each individual has a score once they're an adult, and that score ranges from 300 being very, very low to 850 being outstanding. And so your credit score is essentially a score that you are given based on your financial responsibility. Again, it's a score that you're given based on your financial responsibility. And so how is it calculated? Well, you've got 35% of it is about your payment history. So are you paying on time? 30% has to do with the amount that you owe. Do you owe $300,000 on a mortgage? Do you owe $10,000 on a credit card debt? All right, so that's taken into account, how much you owe. The length of credit history is also taken into account. So when you start off young, your credit score is not going to be great because you haven't proven to them yet that you are responsible. And that's why a lot of people emphasize that it's important to get a credit card early if you're responsible enough. A new credit is also taken into account. So every time you open up a new credit card or have a new loan, that does affect your credit, sometimes positively and sometimes negatively. And then also the types of credit used. So you want to diversify that, meaning you don't want to just have 15 credit cards. You would want to have one credit card, maybe one student loan, maybe one mortgage, things like that. All right, how do you build good credit? It is recommended that you open a line of credit as soon as possible. So credit would be something like a student loan, a car loan, or a credit card. Please do not open these things if you cannot pay them back, right? You're doing this so that you can open a credit account and prove that you can pay it back, right? As soon as you have 1 to 2 years of payment history, then your credit score really starts to go up. If you have no loans, no credit cards, your credit score will actually be quite low because you haven't proven that you can pay things back. Okay, make sure you diversify your credit accounts. So for example, open different types. So things like a car loan, things like a credit card, etc. Those are different. Don't just open 15 credit cards. And make sure you use it. And make sure you pay it back immediately, right? So you don't want to just open a credit card and then never use it. That won't help your credit score. And sometimes it could hurt it. Do not max out your credit limit. So make sure you know what your credit limit is. So for example, when you first get a credit card, it's usually around $2,000 to $5,000. Know what your credit limit is and never go over the balance. All right, so the other thing is you don't want to get close to that limit. I made the mistake once of not calling the bank and asking them, hey, can I get a higher credit limit? And once I did, they're like, oh yeah, sure, no problem at all. You can have a higher credit limit. So don't be afraid to call the banks and ask for a higher credit limit. They might say no at first, but then call back a year or two later and they'll probably say yes. But you don't want to get close to that credit limit, right? If you have a credit limit of 1,000, you never should allow the balance to go over 700. Okay, that would really hurt your credit if you're getting very close to your credit limit. That's not good. Obviously, don't miss payments. If a payment's missed, the consumer has 30 days before a late payment is reported to the credit bureaus. You also have interest that you have to pay, and that's going to really be harmful to your credit and also to your wallet. And don't apply for credit cards at the same time. And also, believe it or not, if you check your credit score, sometimes that brings your credit down. The reason why is when you're checking your credit score, it's implying that you're going to go and get a loan or get a credit card, and so they can dock your account. There are ways to check your credit score for free, though, and those are oftentimes advertised online. Why do you need a good credit score? So first reason is it will get you low interest rates on loans. So if you buy a house, you might get something like a 3.2% versus someone with a bad credit score. They could actually be denied for a loan. Okay, with bad credit, you could be denied for a loan. All right, second reason why you want a good credit score is that some employers check your credit score. And basically what they're doing is saying, is this a responsible person that I can trust? I think it's a little bit dodgy personally, because you're basically saying, hey, let me check to see if this person who needs a job is poor or not, because oftentimes people who are poor have worse credit scores. So that's a little dodgy to me, but it is what it is, sadly. Third one here is a landlord checks your credit score. And if your landlord doesn't like your credit score, they're saying, well, I'm not going to give you this house. I'm not going to give you this condo. I'm not going to give you this apartment, because they're not going to give their apartment to someone who's not going to pay. If you have a bad credit score, that implies you're not financially responsible. So your landlord would say, I'm sorry, I'm not going to give you this place. And you could end up homeless, sadly. What happens if you have a bad credit score? Well, we kind of just discussed that. Let's go back. Your landlord would say, nope, you can't get this house. Your employee might say, sorry, you can't get this job. And a bank might say, sorry, I'm not going to give you a loan. If you have a good credit score, you'll get a good interest rate on a loan. An employer will hire you with no problem. And a landlord would say, absolutely, I'll give you this apartment because you're responsible and you pay money back. All right, folks, that's it about credit scores. There's a lot of information online, and I'm happy to answer questions in class. Thanks for watching.